This is EBS TV Reloaded.
The other stations are tuned in too.
Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to Issues and Answers on Edo Broadcasting Service. My name is Josephine Eimihe. This morning we'll be looking at new measures to tackling insecurity in Nigeria. And we have some guests with us this morning. We'll be looking at it and how to provide solutions to the insecurity challenges we are having in Nigeria. Nigeria is like in a boiling point, but I'm not pessimistic. It's what we're having. If you tune to your television, you go to your radio sets or the internet, it's all washed out with what there's this killing or the other, this kidnapping or the other. And it started like almost in 2009 when the first incident happened. Until now, we are still battling, despite huge amount spent in this sector. We are still grappling with high level of insecurity in the country. But we want to start from home. Just yesterday, Governor Godwin Obaseki directed that security breach will now be the responsibility of local government administrators. And we'll start from there, whether it's a good development or either one. As per what the president said earlier, President Muhammadu Buhari, he said we are dealing with insecurity problem in Nigeria in a very strong and robust way. The guests will be talking on that if what is said is true. If we are dealing with security head-on and in a very strong way, why are we having what we are saying these days? The persons to look on this topic this morning, we have the Chief Security Officer, Diamond VIP Security, and is also a criminology and security expert, Mr. Jeff Scott Emakwo. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, we have the National Coordinator, Grassroots Mobilization for Good Governance, Wisdom Eda.
Thank you very much for just being. Thank you for having me.
All right, before we start this conversation, let's look at the clip from yesterday's meeting where the governor had this meeting with traditional leaders and local government administrators. PD, please, let's see the clip.
This meeting is in furtherance of the efforts at finding a lasting solution to the security challenges in parts of the state. From kidnappings to headers crisis, robbery and illicit drug use, some of the issues that dominated discussions among the Edo State government, security commanders, paramilitary officials, local council heads, and members of the traditional institution drawn from the 7 council areas in Edo South Senatorial District.
And we're going to hear from each local government what has been done to date.
Representatives of traditional institutions and heads of local government administration take turns to give brief on the impact of their effort at implementing the resolutions from the July 5 Security Council meeting chaired by the State Deputy Governor Philip Shaibu, while giving suggestions on the way forward.
The rest of the Kekena Pesa, which you just asked, I have started profiling them. The area we're having a confusion before was between Okoro, down end of Okoro, Medical Store Road, down, the Technical School Road. Those are the area where we have bushes, which I also informed the head of the vigilante. All of us went to the bush there to comb the area to make sure that those, our enemies who were living there before, we chase them away.
Upper Sakumba, to be specific, with the assistance of the police and security agents, the vigilante as well, we've ensured that stop and search, that's roadblocks, are mounted at strategic points after the secretariat building by the police and vigilante to ensure that the area is maintained and kept safe. Also, the bypass area, with the help of the army officer there, they also carry out roadblock on regular basis.
The vigilantes, actually, they are very, very active.
The only problem we have there now is that we want each village in Wode to set up a committee. Then I have enough vigilante. And then seek the help of the local police, army, and the government. Each village, if they can make any attempt.
That was it on the security meeting of yesterday. We're looking at new measures to tackle insecurity in Nigeria. Before we talk on what happened yesterday, let me rewind. Previously, they have various means of tackling insecurity. Sometimes there was one time they said GSM was they stopped communication in some northern states. Other time there is this disarmament. There are different measures, but the recent one is stopping a ban, consideration of stopping mining activities and motorcycle. This is the latest one we're having, and we'll be having someone that will look at it also. He's a motorcyclist. We'll be looking at that direction, how it will affect us. These are the measures being put in place to fight insecurity. We'll look on that. But the meeting of yesterday, Governor Baseki said that henceforth, any insecurity breach in any local government council, the administrator of that council will be held responsible. And he also said that the administrators should always liaise with the traditional leaders. There should be a synergy in the fight against security. Emako, this new development, what are your views concerning it?
Well, thank you so much. For me, as a person, critically, I want to say that, I thank the Edo State government and the Edo State governor for that laudable initiative, calling on the traditional rulers and all the stakeholders to look at issues arising from Edo State as it affects insecurity. It's no longer news that what is happening around our neighboring states. Oshun, we heard the cases of Owo and all that, and our forests within Owo and Edo State, you will discover that it's just more or less like a stone thrown. And this development, what the governor has just declared, if you're looking at the local government, we know we have the heads of the HOS or as the aim of affair, manning or coordinating the affairs of the local government councils. But you agree with me that it is not sufficient enough to use a blanket statement to say that any insecurity breach or security breach, the administrators will be held responsible. What are those apparatus being given to these local government councils to work? One, we can understand that the local vigilante is also one of the very good apparatus within the locals, within the local government level, or within our local communities. But even at that, the local vigilantes are equipped today. We must ask ourselves and see how the government need to look at this direction. We understand that they have a new leadership or a new commander on board who's trying to profile and do a lot of new innovations within the local vigilantes. But away from that, we need to go further to see how the state government, I know I must also commend the state government, at least the issue of logistics mobility, which he has also, at least he has advanced in that. And talking about, we also need to equip them more and also empower the local government authorities to see how they can fund in terms of ammunitions, in terms of their gadgets, in terms of logistics and manpower. They need to be trained, and as well, then we understand that we need to give them some very critical trainings, because whether we like it or not, we have our Nigeria Police Force within. Let's talk about the MOPO 5, where they can be well trained in terms of handling weapons. Because I think last 2 weeks we saw a video within our neighboring states around the railway where you saw it was the local vigilante that were able to disperse the bandits. that was kudos to our local vigilantes. So if we have our local vigilante well trained and all empowered, and all the necessary empowerment they'll be needing is being given to them, I tell you, then also from the traditional rulers and our leaders within the locals, they need to have constant security meetings. Constant security meetings where there are bridges in any communities and all that. Fundamentally, most of these communities, you have thick forests, and where you have most of these criminal elements where they dwell. And I tell you, before now, we understand that these guys of headers or headsmen, we brought to the knowledge of this issue of insecurity among communities, where they kill and rape farmers, and as we speak now, it's even affecting our commodities in the market. So we must see how in every community, our security architecture at that local level, which the governor now is now empowering every local government council to be in charge, they should be given all the necessary support. I just talk about logistics, I talk about training, manpower, I talk about funding and all that. And you need to boost the morale of these security personnel. Even the Nigeria Police Force and the Army can jointly work with them, like we have the Joint Task Force. Right. So they can work jointly and to see how we can curb this issue of insecurity at the local level. Then you can now hold whosoever responsible when he or she fails to carry out their duty.
Just joining us from the studio is Felix Onole. He's a motorcyclist. You're welcome this morning.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll
To
come
go
to
to
you.
the bush
Let me go to
and curb the bush.
Wisdom Elder.
And
Talking about this new measure, the ban on motorcycle and mining activity, do you see this measure helping to solve the security problems we have in the country?
All right. Actually, placing a ban on motorcycles.
Consideration, yeah.
Considering that, which actually the National Assembly has not given a nod to. I don't think that actually is a way of diverting the problem or the cause of the problem, and making once again the masses to begin to feel the brunt of the challenge of the economy. You understand? Because when you place a ban on motorcyclists because of those guys that are using the motorcyclists to operate, what about the ones that use the hillocks to operate? What about the ones that use sophisticated weapons to also operate? You know, and then remember that these people, they did not just appear in our country, they did not appear in our bushes, they passed through our borders, they passed through our checkpoints. So, and they did not go through checkpoints or borders with those motorcycles. So the challenge here is the people in charge putting their feet on the ground to accept the challenge, the responsibility of facing insecurity, and then having accepted that challenge, get the people who can handle this insecurity headlong, and then consult them, get them involved, because insecurity, terrorism is different from the conventional security system. Terrorism is deep. Terrorists can infiltrate your government, they can infiltrate your military, they can infiltrate your telecommunication gadget, everyone that operates in your country, they can get involved in all these places in order to perpetrate their actions. They can pass through your checkpoints, your borders, because maybe those who might be on duty, they might have maybe settled them or sorted them handsomely. So coming to talk of a ban on motorcycle is just to make the common man feel that maybe the government is trying to do something, whereas actually, in all honesty, there is no major action, because nothing is being done to stop the kidnapping. Nothing is being done. Yesterday I heard that between Enugu and Abuja axis, there was a major control by these bandits in that area, and a lot of people were taken into the forest. These forests are our forests. They are not strange for these are our forests. We have our military. We have our air force. These places are ours. We have no reason to allow these people to spend any time within our borders without us handling them headlong. We have no excuse. But if we want to do these things, there are strategies. You cannot use your normal military pattern to handle them. You cannot. You have to upgrade in level of information technology, in level of so many strategies in order to handle them. And that actually is where the problem is coming from. Remember, they have confessed there are people who are sponsors of these people. Remember, some people like the people that were released last week among this Kaduna train attack. The people that were released, they said as they were going, one of the man said he made available 60 million and his friends made available about 40. So when they were taking this money to these bandits that caught them, that kidnapped them, now some people took some part of the money. At the end, they were short of 770,000 before the money got to the bandits. And the people that took this money were part of our security people. And they said, tell them that this is their own share. Now,
where did you get that information?
Yeah, it's just there. It's on the news. It's on the news. The person confessed. This is not the first time. This is not the first time people that were caught by these bandits were coming out to tell the public what these bandits say. This is not the first time. They have been saying it. And then remember, there was a time Dubai was to publish the accounts of some people who were funding terrorists.
All right,
remember,
before we go,
all this information are there. They are just open to us.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Before we go deeper into the conversation, the Attorney General of the Federation said the reason to ban these motorcyclists from operation across the nation is as a result of, from the intelligence gathered, that they use it a lot in most of the northern states. That's why they are considering the ban on motorcycle. So that is it. So my thought is this: there are some other states that don't have the security challenges. What will happen to them? Can you say something on that?
All right, I watched the BBC documentary on terrorism in Zamfara. I watched that documentary very well, and we could see how terrorism started in Zamfara state. And then at the end, the documentary was giving a report that they have over 30,000 of those bandits in Zamfara, scattered across 100 different ports, different junctions. We have been hearing that some communities pay levies to bandits before they can go to farm. We have been hearing that before some killings started. One thing I want you to understand is this: security is not what you play politics with. It's not what you politicize. If you politicize security, it will definitely get into your own domain, because some of the people that are being caught today never believed in their life that they would have been caught by these same people. And many of them have seen the harshness, they have seen the terror, they have seen the way they have been treated, even seen people that have died in those bushes. So if we want to handle terrorism, what about those people in Zamfara? Now, remember, there are things that happen in Zamfara. Earlier, before now, I think there was a time Zamfara gave a record of they are generating IGR from gold and all the rest of them. So most of these things are involved, but people, we seem to be playing kiss glove with it. And that is why a few people are taking over the entire country. Is appalling. It's unacceptable that a country of over 200 million people are now going to be at the mercy of less than a million people, or less than 100,000 people who are making money from the resources of the Nigerians. Because the more they abduct, the more they collect money. The money they collect can be tracked, can be recorded. Now, there was a time one of the captives sent a Google map of where he was. That location can be tracked, can be recorded. There are people that go to those places to negotiate with them. So the places they are not hidden. They are not hidden. We are not looking for where they are. The problem is the complicity of our system. Let me just say system because I'm trying to be diplomatic. But when we go headlong, we can at least know when they said they are coming for Mr. President, they are coming for Governor El Rufai, they are coming for these two people. And there was a time they were confessing that this the promise they gave them, they have not been able to fulfill those promises. So what are we saying? Nigerians, I did a mobilization for displaced persons that were coming into the southern part of Nigeria. I realized that when I was interfacing with them, I realized that so many displaced persons were displaced not because they were not ready to fight. They were displaced because the people who were in charge of security could not give them any apparatus to fight, and they were helpless. Their people were dying, and they had to leave their places. So a lot of them coming into the south, we in the south, we keep feeling that these people are also terrorists. So we don't even know the ones that are terrorists or the ones that are running from Borno State, from Zamfara, and from other parts of the north. You understand?
Wisdom Elder, I ask a question concerning the ban of bike, that blanket statement.
Yes.
I said, what about places that you don't have insecurity? Since they are considering it, do they have a thought on that?
Okay, considering the places, considering the places that we don't have such operation of these people, definitely you understand that there should be no need for banning. But why I am going to the root of it, Chinese, there's a way they handle problems. When they want to handle situation, they go to the root. I think in project, in project management, we don't chase the smoke. We go to the root, the cause of the problem. That's where we are going. Because if they are talking of banning Okada or mining activities, it is still the same thing that has to do with the cause of the problem. As it stands now, some people are making heavy money from the mining activities. And if you are placing ban, are you placing ban on some people so that some other people will have access to? So I'm against every strategy that wants to recycle the same process in order to curb insecurity.
All right, thank you.
We want a new approach, we want a drastic approach, and we want an approach that Nigerians will see and say, yes, this is actually a great step in the right direction, not a political approach.
All right, Mr. Felix, you're able to cyclist. So you operate in Benin.
Very well.
Which side of Benin? Because we know there is a ban on most cyclist activities. So which side do you operate?
Yes, we are just at the boundary between Ibubaoka and Ohunwode.
Okay, outskirts of the place.
Yes.
Okay, this consideration that they want to ban motorcyclists from operation, how do you see it?
Thank you. I'm beginning to look at it that what even brought this idea of banning the motorcycle. We said it has to do with insecurity according to the authority. Now the issue of insecurity is something that on their own part they have not been able to manage. That is why it is coming down to us. The bike, as far as we are in this Benin, I don't think we've really heard much about situation reports concerning the Okada riders. Like for instance, I keep giving an example. Like in my park and to other parks that I've been able to see through to their management, we don't have anything. We don't even have people with dubious or questionable characters. We don't have them around us at all. Now the question of the using bike as a means of transportation for the bandits. Then I also ask a question: is it even only the motorcycle they use? The one that happened recently at Uromi, Aziz, some of them that were caught, they never used motorcycle. What they used was cars. There was a report we got. That one used a 406 Peugeot. if the government is considering banning a motorcycle, why don't they ban Peugeot in general? It's a question. So I really don't understand the kind of politics they are playing on the part of Okada riders, as the case may be. Now, I also want to ask a question. If you say you want to ban Okada, good and fine. Okay, let us even look at it. The people that are surviving through this means, what provision have you made for them? Nothing has been done. Where are these people? People import motorcycle. I'm sure you are aware of that. Yeah. People are responsible for the importation of this motorcycle. We have mechanics. We have spare parts sellers. Then we have the riders. Now, what provision are you making for these people? And these people have contributed immensely to the growth of the economy in the system. So what now happens to these people? Now, I expected that what the government ought to do is, there are stakeholders in this business, in this motorcycle business. Involve these stakeholders, sit them down, then let us discuss the better ways for us to kind of fine-tune the situation or the security architecture of this system. Let us see how we go about it. Okay, what can you people do for us? Then we also know how to come in.
All right.
Now, let me give you an instance. If you go to Benue State, for instance, the way the motorcycle operates there is so mature. It's because the government is not even giving preference to us. They don't care about us. That is why they are even looking at it that we are not contributing. Now, if you go to Benue State, like I said, they all have various helmets. Apron that they use. Jackets. Now, if you are not a motorcyclist, you cannot have access to that jacket. Why? Because those jackets, they are numbered. They have their serial number. The authority knows where the number stops. So by the time you are going to like a kind of forge a number to yourself, as soon as that act is carried out, we will be able to trace it to the actual person.
All right, let's come to Edo State. Do you people have association in your park there?
Yes, we do. And Anewat is responsible for the association.
So you all are registered?
We are registered.
Okay.
We are registered.
Okay, that is clear. Let me come to Emwakbo. During the Kuje correctional break, from reports, according to the Minister of Interior, he said there was intelligence report that these people, they are going to break this jail, and somehow things did not happen that way. People did not work, the stakeholders did not work with that intelligence report, hence we have the break. Do you think that there is a lacuna between that intelligence report and the actionable part of doing what is right in this country?
Yes, I would say that it is something that it is not even is unheard of for the stakeholders for such intelligence to have been shared and they didn't act upon it. If it were another country, other nation or in the Western world, I tell you those involved will be dealt with, or even as we speak, they will lose their jobs. But just only in Nigeria here, you see where we pamper things and we take things for granted. For a security intelligence report, for it to be out, and if you look at the nomenclature of the Kuje prison, it is a very critical correctional place where you have most of those criminals where they harbor them. And for such intelligence report to have gotten to those that need to facilitate, operate, and to also engage such intelligence, for them to play with it. And we can recall that we have an army checkpoint that at the entrance and before the exit of Kuje prison. And for the authorities in charge, for them to say that they gave us with very funny reasons and excuses that they were change of beats. And at the particular time that the new personnel that are supposed to take over the beats didn't wait for the other ones, and it left just like that. And within that space, that attack took place. So it is unacceptable. It is something that is not even, I don't know how to put it, in the hearing of any sane citizen. That attack, that launch took place, and they were able to compromise the entrance and compromise the exit. For 3 hours, that they were gun battle dueling, gun battle for 3 hours. And as we speak, during that Kuje attack, we have different, even the headquarters of the army, the air force and all, they are all in the FCT. And as we speak, the Senate, they've released a lot of money for Tucanos, for different air fighter jets. A Tucano, even no matter what, let's say before, you cannot launch, or you have other checkpoints. They cannot tell us for 3 hours. You did not, that there's no intelligence report to reach out to the headquarters of the army or even the police force. The police headquarters is there, the air force and others were there, even the DSS, for 3 hours. So it is a thing that we need to ask ourselves: who is deceiving who? Who is deceiving us in this country? Because the fact still remains that even to the prison wardens that were there, we also have some of them that we have the armed squad. Some of them are also trained, also working with the army and the police, where we have them as joint team to make sure they protect. And the Kuje prison, like I said again, it is a very critical prison where you have high profile criminals, inmates, where they are there as inmates. And for us to say that for 3 hours, and as we speak, even at the eve of that, before that attack, before the launch of that attack, even on Facebook, you will discover that we have the intelligence report that they are planning an attack to that prison. And truly, behold, the 2 hours too, we saw that happened. And the security apparatus cannot tell us that they are not aware for them to beef up their security. And also the commander in charge of that beat, who swapped the officers that are supposed to be on guard. No question about it. Nobody was being dealt with. There's no persecution. Nothing has been done as we speak. That alone will keep it aside. Before we understand that they now also have the same goal to advance further, to now attack the presidential guard. And that was not even enough. We also saw a video also coming from the Kaduna, yes. They also now made a threat to our president and some other governors and other profile Nigeria. If it were another nation, I don't know, the kind of audacity, the guts that these terrorists or bandits that they have, irrespective of how armed and sophisticated they are. If you can recall that our gallantry soldiers or in the armed forces, even then, when whether you like it or not, in infantry, we have one of the best soldiers. If you go to during the ECOMOC, you can recall in Liberia War and all that, Nigeria has the best when it comes to infantry, when it comes to combatry. But when it comes to a conventional issue that is with security or insecurity, our own gallantry soldiers cannot do anything. So who is deceiving who? Who is fooling us? And who is doing this to Nigeria that we cannot tell ourselves the truth before us? Now, if you are not careful, the way they are advancing, their advancement, if we don't nip it, the painful part is that the military is telling us that there's a shake within the military. They are changing most of the GOCs and all that. But is that enough? Is it sufficient enough to really tell us who need to be persecuted? We have seen cases where some, even like my brother said, Dubai sent out some lists of founders of these terrorists. Even some other agencies have also sent out that even America and UK have also done this. As we speak, our country could not even take an action. It's like we are pampering these funders, we are pampering these terrorists, and as we speak, our military apparatus, they are overwhelmed, whether like it or not. The approach in which they are tackling or they are advancing with this issue of insecurity is zeroless. Let me shock you. During the case, during the Northeast, our Eastern brothers, I was privileged to be traveling from Abuja, I think about 4 or 5 years ago. I saw the armory that was sent to the East, in which they tag as crocodile smile, python dance, dragon dance, and what have you, all different names, they term it. But they could fight how would I call them? Is it a section? I will call them now a group that were agitating for their own rights. But they could send a lot of armory with our own resources, Nigeria's resources, to fight a group fighting for their own, whether you call it IPOP, I don't want to mention name. But now an insurgent or an issue of banditry, we cannot see those crocodile smile, those python dance, or those dragon smile anymore. So who is fooling who? And we need to ask ourselves a very critical questions. If we cannot tell ourselves the truth, it tells that the president's statement saying that they are fighting security head on, and what have you. What are they fighting? That you cannot even travel from, as we speak, let me use the word now, the most freest place now is between Benin to like Agbo. Immediately after you just pass, what's it called? The Abudu to Agbo. You cannot anymore because of insecurity. So we need to nip this. If there's no persecution, you cannot persecute these bandits, you cannot persecute the funders, you cannot give us security intelligence to say who is doing this, who is doing that, and for us to curb it. We will remain in the same circle and remain where we are.
Wisdom Elder, some persons are calling for the overhauling of the security agencies. Do you agree with that? Because before, they called for the overhaul and it was done, but we are still seeing the same, and they are calling for another. Is it a good one to overhaul the security architecture once again?
All right, let me say this, because I came here to address the cause of the problem. And then
you provide solution later,
and to provide solution as well. We have to be honest with ourselves. So many things we heard as conspiracy theories in 2015 have all been happening in this country. We thought they were conspiracy theories. We thought the Boko Haram issue, the APC issue, the complicity issue, we thought all these things were just mumbo jumbo that were cooked up by people in order to maybe blackmail a political party or a section in order to maybe bring them down or something. But we've seen everything coming up and even getting to the point. I remember when they said a governor from the north is among them. I remember when they gave so many instances, but we felt these things were just stories. And then, as you always know, whenever an attack happened, remember, just watch this scenario. One of the let's say the last one was Femi Adesina coming up to say, Shehu, you are the one that is trying to create panic. There's no panic in Abuja. Abuja is calm, peaceful, and everybody is going. Now, he was saying this when they have closed down all schools. He was saying this when the law school was already shut down. He was saying this when people have been discouraged from mass gathering. He was saying this and making it to look like there was nothing. And then there was this Zuma Rock encroachment. Are you sure? How are you sure that the people that left Kuje prison did not go to the Zuma Rock to reinforce? How can we get the clips from the federal government, from the technology car apparatus of this country? If we have, how can we get the clips of the footage of how these people moved from that place and where they finally entered? Now, after that, we relaxed and there was nothing that was done until they started coming back. Are you getting me? So if we are talking of overhaul, the National Assembly just went on recess because maybe they never wanted to give attention to it. This is a period where the country is really panicking over insecurity. Abuja was really being intimidated by these people coming close. And then that was a time for the National Assembly, the people that were elected, the people whose income is really depleting the resources of this country, making us to borrow excessively, the people that are the highest paid in the world as far as legislature is concerned. These people that are making overwhelming wealth from this country and the revenues that are being generated from the poor and the downtrodden in this country, they closed and then they are now on recess so that nothing will be done or so that they can prepare themselves to zoom out of the country. Now, is that a patriotic, is that the kind of person that will tell you that the system will be overhauled and you listen? We know their agitation. APC should come out and then apologize to Nigerians for what has happened in the past 7 years to this country. A lot of people have died. People have been misplaced. It will take a long time for you to restore the Northeast back to where it was before. It will take so many years, more than 30 years, to bring the Northeast back to where it is. There are some people, if you take them to their villages now, they will not recognize their village in the Northeast. A lot of people are on the streets in the southern part of Nigeria, sleeping on the on the main road. That is how they are surviving. Trying to gather the wheelbarrows, some are using Okada to survive. Go to Lagos, you have a lot of them. If he's working for one, he's working for, sometimes go to Benin, Ring Road, sometimes at night, you see that place littered with our people who have escaped for their lives. And then we have a country, we have a constitution, and we have people that have sworn to the constitution to protect lives and properties, and they are not doing it, and nobody seems to be bothered about it. Nobody is responsible. Sometimes they say the president was not aware. Erufai said the president was not aware that they said he was going to. Now, we use ignorance to douse detention, to use ignorance to make people feel like maybe the president does not know what's happening. Is that what we call a country? The APC should come out and apologize to Nigerians and let us know where we can start from. Let's know how. That was pumped. I got a
Wisdom Media, let me cut you.
Yeah.
I want you to answer the question. Should they overhaul the security agencies, or we should leave it as it is right now?
I keep telling you, I'm avoiding a political response. If we say we should overhaul the security, who does the overhauling? That's why I'm avoiding political response, because I am not here to pet it. We're here to help our people, because a lot of people are watching us, and then if we don't prepare our people for whatever is coming, thank God the governor has given the responsibility back to the people. That's the implication. Yes, he has given the responsibility back to the people. But we expect, before they said Zamfara people should start using guns, it took time. It took time. When some villages have been ransacked, people have been killed with camera. We were watching how people were beheaded in Zamfara before this thing started happening. And remember, that place, they have a lot of farmers there. So if you say to overhaul, we have been saying that when Jonathan took a drastic step during the days of Jonathan to use that was when Ejika was there. I think some northern leaders went to International Criminal Court over Ejika, and the man was removed. Now, I am still waiting for northern leaders that will come up today and go to International Criminal Court over the leadership of the country, over the security agencies of the country, and nobody is doing that.
All right, we are out of time, but before we go, how do you sanitize your members? Because we still see a lot of motorcyclists in town. Do you sanitize? Do you have a way of bringing all these people to the association? How do you do that? How do you sanitize the association?
The issue of those that are riding this bike outside, I want to tell you that some of them, they are not registered with a park. They just operate.
So how do you get them to register?
Now the question is, the issue is, this is where the security agency comes in. That was why I said from the beginning that the authority of the motorcycle union was not involved. Now there is a body that is responsible for this. When we get hold of them outside, we don't spare them, we don't mercy them. We bring them to book. Now, if the government is actually working with us, we have a way we'll go around.
Okay, you say government is working with you, that's why you have an association. And this association, is it registered or not?
The association is registered.
So government is aware of it.
That is why I said, if there is a way we'll go about this. If we are giving the room, if you give me the room to say, okay, what do I think should be done about this thing? The detail of all the motorcycle riders should be captured.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That on that note, we will just wrap up this discussion. It's a very robust one, but because of time is not our friend this morning. I want to thank the National Coordinator, Grassroots Mobilization for Good Governance, Wisdom Header, for your robust thoughts this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, the Chief Security Officer, Diamond VIP Security, and a criminology and security expert, Jeff Scott Emwakbo.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your detailed words. And Phyllis Onole is a motorcyclist. Thank you, sir, for your coming. I'm looking forward to see you again in our discussion. That's the show this morning on Issues and Answer. My name is Josephine Eimihe. Do have a good day ahead. Thank you.
This is EBS TV Reloaded.
The other stations are tuned in too.